Okay, we are recording. Hello, Biscuit, and hello, Suzi.
Hey, Virginia.
Good morning.
Thanks for having us on.
I'm so glad to have you guys here. What a beautiful spring morning. It's kind of cold where I am. I don't know about you.
It's cold and it's cloudy, but it's all right. Sun's staying up longer now, so I love that.
Amen. Amen.
Really love the light.
So, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Sure. I'm Suzi, Virginia's friend, in shock with Virginia's new haircut.
Suzi's one of the first people to see it, so yep.
Yeah, it's cute.
Thank you.
Very, very pixie, very happy. I am a mom, wife, yoga student, teacher, meditation teacher. I own a dog kennel, and we also board horses and have chickens and white pigeons that I release for peace. And I'm just practicing energy and awareness as much as I can to just try to be practicing present moment. And I just read and read and read audiobooks all day long while I do chores, and that's what I do.
That's awesome. Well, you have certainly been one of the biggest teachers in my life, and a true and accepting and amazing friend to me. So I can vouch for your for the work as far as awareness and acceptance goes. So I know that you're excited about some things that you already know you want to talk about. So what is, most lighting you up right now? What's going on?
Well, I think the biggest thing that's happening for me is my Course in Miracles group, the family, the all the people that I mean, because I've been so isolated out here in Wyoming with the practices that I practice. Not many people practice this way here. And I'm in a smaller town, and so it's so nice to connect with a group that practices the same thing. And so I drive an hour to go to Cody Course in Miracles group, or get on Zoom, thank God, and just connecting with those like-minded people, and then sharing books and ideas and things like that. Especially with you, because you just turned me on to my new favorite book, and you're the one that turned me. Well, when you said the first time you were talking about Course in Miracles, back to that, and you were first listening to it, you said, I am Jesus Christ. I went, ooh, whoa, man, that was pretty blazing, I just couldn't. And you said, how did you say it? I am. It wasn't you just said, I am Jesus Christ. And
I mean, we all are, right? That's the point. I mean, that's a metaphysical, symbolic kind of view on what's going on. Like what Jesus goes through, that's what we're all here to go through, literally.
Yeah. And what I loved what you said on Easter to our little energy women's group, warrior essences of the light. You said, hey everybody, happy Easter. Resurrection, anyone? And I'm like, oh my God, like Jesus Christ, So it's a whole new outlook on Jesus Christ and being a child of God, and being present with that presence in you of who you really are. And in the Course in Miracles group, I learned about No Head by Douglas Harding.
Yes.
And practicing this as if you have no head.
Right.
And you're just like experiencing this body and these arms and legs that are extending out of you. If you just look down at yourself, and that's who you are. You're not this face, you're not your cute haircut, you're not your clothes, you're just the experience of what's flowing through you energetically at that moment and how you're perceiving it. And good or bad, it just is. It's just really, really, there's no good or bad. There just is what it is. And
Right.
it keeps you so present. The other day, this is really interesting. I was brushing my teeth, and it was like I was just looking at my hand. I wasn't looking in the mirror when I was brushing the teeth. And it's just like, I'm brushing Jesus's teeth. So, yeah, just
Yes.
those kind of cool realizations of everything, what you're doing and
Yes.
how. And just saw another good one today, recommended by Dr. Dyer, because I'm going back. That's another cool thing, is I'm going back to my original teachers, and all along they were saying that. They were saying,
Yes.
"You're light. You're made of light. You are energy, and you are stardust, and you are the things of stars." I was like, "Man, I heard that," but now it's all starting to really line up and make sense, thanks to you and your translations and just the things you're introducing me to,
Oh,
expanding the mind.
okay. Well, a few things. I mean, first of all, you have introduced me to so much. Like at some point in this conversation, I want to talk about Joe Dispenza. You introduced me to Joe Dispenza. You're probably one of the ones who really introduced me to Wayne Dyer. A couple things. So just on the Douglas Harding, who I really frickin' recommend. The Man with No Head is just one of his books. I'll link to the video that you sent me about him that kind of does a little biography and talks about the book of his. I can't remember what it's called, but that C.S. Lewis was like, who are you? Like, this is so good. But just to give a little bit of a thing about the no head deal, what woke him up to that is he sees this picture that a physicist drew, a self-portrait. And instead of what we always think of as a self-portrait, which would be like my face, the physicist is like sitting in a lounge chair and draws the whole room, like everything that he can actually see. So like my self-portrait right now, I mean, yeah, there would be a reflection of me in it because I'm here on the screen, but would be, myself then would be everything that I can see in my vision right now. The trees, my computer, you, my dog sitting in the front seat, my van in here, my childhood home out the window. Like, this is not my self-portrait. My self-portrait is everything that I'm experiencing and seeing.
Your awareness,
Yeah.
being
And
aware, and what is, yeah, this is, and you're all of that. You're all of it that you're connected to. Um, and like, uh, I've been thinking about that one realization I had, and the I am, all the, love I am. And
yes.
because like I am this room, I am the energy in this room, I
Right.
am the knickknacks in this room, I am Virginia, who I see.
Yes.
I am the computer. I am, all of this.
Right.
And it's like fabricating in front of my eyes right now for this experience.
Yes.
Like that double slit
Yes.
theory where, another great book that um you sent me on was Think and Grow Rich. And I'm
Mm,
really programming that into myself. That's what I do, is just listen to a book over and over. I listen to it in my sleep. And I did that with The Greatest Secret, which was a beautiful, is just like A Course in Miracles,
mm-hmm.
but 21st century talk, like and Muji's in it, and
Love Muji.
oh,
You introduced me to Muji.
oh, he's so cute. Um, so anyway, just I love to program those books into my head. I've been also doing a call in on Tuesday nights with Dr. Michael Gross. and he channels basically from the divine any answer to any question you might have. We did a mass consciousness meditation on Saturday, which was really good. And there's so many of those out there. And any meditation that anybody could get into. I, I so recommend meditation anytime. Like, and it doesn't have to be where you got your eyes closed and you're just sitting there. It could be while you're in this experience, it's trying really hard to meditate what your feet are doing, and what, it's just active meditation, just like the labyrinth is walking meditation, so just being so aware. It's like in the book Think and Grow Rich, they keep talking about the secret, the secret, the secret. The secret is in the book. The secret is on every chapter, and it could be on every page. And I'm like, oh, there's a secret, but it's not written out. You can't, they don't actually say it, but everybody who's made themselves a millionaire or billionaire knew this secret, but they don't actually say it. And so you're listening really hard for secrets, and they come. I mean,
So what are some of the secrets?
well, it's just
In your words.
it's for you.
Right.
It's a personal thing. It's being so aware and like listening and waiting for a secret to come to you, that you'll hear whatever it is that, like Henry Ford building a V8 motor and things like that. And these guys just kept saying, we can't do it. Can't do it. And he says, I know you can, just keep on trying, and he just kept them going. And the more somebody would push something incredibly foreign onto you, like Virginia, I'm not going to say it or you'll go do something crazy. It's just like, you just keep, and you can just see a guy trying to build a V8 from a V4 going, how am I going to do this? And just sit there and ponder for a little while. And then they would hear it. They would get the idea.
Yes.
And that's where, like, Tesla must have been a great meditator, a guy who could just listen really good for all of the energy inventions he came up with, and Edison, all of them. Edison's in the book a lot. Anyway, so last night, right before yoga class, a hawk flew right over my pigeon coop, and it was open, and I only have 2 of those kind of pigeons. And and my student saw, she goes, oh, there's a hawk, it's gonna get your pigeons. And so, I mean, I looked out the window, I could totally see its whole belly, and all underneath its wings was all spread out, and it was so cool. So I ran out, shut the pigeon door, and came back and started yoga. And I just was like, okay, this was this beautiful hawk for me to see in this awareness right before yoga. Let's apply it to yoga. Let's invent a yoga class around the hawk and the pigeon. And so the class was pretty flowy, and it gave me an idea, because I've been trying to think of what's a new idea I could do, because I really feel like I'm content, but I want to keep playing this game a little more active instead of just being content. And so it was like having this class where I was making every pose about like roll your wings back and forth and down your, like just think about these as your wings. And then the, of course, these beautiful poses where you're just stretching out all the way through, and you like stretch through those, those fingers right there, those.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, the idea I had, because we were joking around because of gun yoga on Monday, and Tuesday I had the hawk yoga, and And then I thought, how about yoga with pigeons? You know, they got the yoga with goats and yoga with dogs and yoga with cats, but I've never seen yoga with pigeons. And so I have like a little retreat where everybody gets to hold a pigeon, their own pigeon, and just sort of check it out, you know, and play with its wings and look at its head and its belly and its pink legs and let it go
Yes.
right here, and then just watch them fly, and then go have some yoga.
What do your pigeons mean and bring to you? I mean, with all the time and, you know, just relationship that you have with them.
They're just another way to bring me into awareness, really, because of the way they'll just be flying in the sky, and I take so many videos, I take so many pictures and turn them into like B-roll, yeah, you say, but uh it's so pretty because I go for all white birds. And when I have birds with lots of speckles on them, I give them to somebody or something, or I'll release them at a wedding kind of far away, and they'll hook up with some other pigeons. But I do get some speckles sometimes, and but they just look. It's just to bring peace. Um, just I got them before I had my yoga retreat. I think in 2019. Is that when I got them? No, I had to have them before that. Anyways, I got 4, and I'm up to at least 25 of my other ones and a couple over here. And I've just kind of had birds in my life. I used to raise pheasants and quail and chukars for hunters. You know, it's just like they're a balance. And even the hawk getting one doesn't upset me too much anymore because it's natural. And my birds, they can fly whenever they want. They just fly around here at the house, and so to me it feels like I have a pet that's completely free. It can
Mm.
go wherever it wants, but it still comes home, and I can call them mine. And I just taking care of them is nothing. They're so easy to take care of, for the beauty that they bring. It's so great.
Well, they're easy to take care of for you, who is a professional at taking care of animals.
When the birds are easy. Like,
Right.
here's some food and water. I don't have to, comb your hair or try to break you or, start you or train you. I don't have to do any of that.
Right. Well, I want to talk a little bit more about A Course in Miracles because I think it's a really, I want to hear a little bit about your, you know, because remember when I first started reading it when I was in Guatemala and was talking to you about it, you were like, oh, like, I don't know about A Course in Miracles. Like, I've never gotten into it. And it's such a beautiful, like, for those of us and most of us in the West, whether we were raised Christian or just grew up in the West, I mean, the framework of Christianity and Christian philosophy is pretty ubiquitous. And so, you know, I know you kind of felt some resistance to a lot of the legalistic fundamentalist interpretations of Christianity. So, like, you know, what changed that made A Course in Miracles so amazing for you, and how did that kind of help bridge this gap between your aversion to Christianity and more of your kind of yogi tendencies that you had gone toward?
Oh man, that's so awesome. Uh, the reason why I resist Christianity is because it was just so forced on me as a kid, and I just turned into a big rebel. And then I just found so much peace with uh, like Dr. Dyer was one of my first teachers, Don Miguel Ruiz, and their teachings were so much more expansive, but I had totally constricted anything about Jesus. I mean, I read The Shack years ago, good book, a Christian fiction book. And I felt like Jesus was more like my friend, my equal after I read that, and I really liked it. I read that book so many times and I give it away all the time. just because it brought me tons of peace, that book, for years. And the movie's good too. Um, so I kind of just felt like, oh, Jesus is my equal. But it's like, now it's like, no shit. Um, I am equal with Jesus, and he's a big deal, you know? He's like, he's, he's a way, you know, I don't know. It's just like when you said, I am Jesus Christ. And I went to a Course in Miracles group, and I took a friend, and she had the book. She'd never read it. And I was talking to Derek, and he says, um, who is Jesus Christ? I asked a question, and he said, who is Jesus Christ? And I said, I am. And my friend goes, oh, like, she's like, I can't believe you said that, you know? But the first time I ever heard about the Course in Miracles was about these ladies in the next town down. A bunch of Catholic ladies got together and read it as a book club years ago, and they almost got excommunicated out of their church for doing it. And I'm like, ooh, that's a good book. If you can get kicked out of church for reading a book about Jesus, and that you are actually limitless, and you are Jesus, and you are this giant loving being, and you are like being a child of God that had a whole new meaning, and it keeps like layers keep peeling off, and it's like it's so good. And when I said to that guy, when he says, who is Jesus Christ? And I just said, I am. It's like something in my brain, you know, like you are.
Yes. And, you know, this makes me, it's so interesting, right? Like any kind of idea of like, ooh, you're not allowed to read this and you're not allowed to believe this. It's like you kind of start to get the feeling of like, well, if you have to keep me from being able to make my own decisions about things, like there's probably something a little off here. And it makes me because it's like why would you not be allowed to read A Course in Miracles if you were in the church? And if that brings you to a deeper personal understanding, right? Because the whole point actually of a lot of what the Bible says, and I think spirituality and faith in general, is that it's an inner experience. Like we can try and talk about it out here. It's just when you just described it, it's like when that click happens, it happens inside. And it's obviously if there's only one God, one love, one, oneness that we all are and that made us, then why would one way of truly connecting with that be any better than any other? And this reminds me, I haven't read it yet, but you sent me the link this morning to is it called The Impersonal Life by Joseph Benner?
Yeah, I just heard about it from Dr. Dyer this morning. I'm signed up for this Dr. Dyer thing on Hay House, and he just started the book or the talk, and he said he read it for like, he can't even count how many times he's read it. But Elvis Presley died with that book on him, and it's reinforcing the knowing that I am.
Yes.
So, and I watched a little summary by a girl. I do like doing that anymore before I really dive into a book, is watch a couple of summaries. Like, I get it. Because I get a few different perspectives from people. But this girl was talking how special it was to her, and she says it's kind of like conversations with God type.
Right. That was a big book to me years ago during the time that I had, first found like Neville Goddard and Joseph Murphy, and a bunch of those kind of guys. Yeah, I mean the way that so I'll link to that about that you sent me, the woman doing the review for The Impersonal Life, because the feeling that I got from that was just like the whole point is that you are going to experience truth in a way that works for you, like, and it's going to come from within you. So, right. Depending on what language you speak, or even what kind of vernacular you use, or what kind of personality your soul has chosen this time around, like that's going to be the flavor of how truth comes across for you. And like for some people, it might just be the Bible. And for some people, it might just be the Quran. And for some people, it might just be, the Yoga Sutras. Like, and I think the deeper you get in, though, and the more that I read and follow teachers that do seem to have some degree of enlightenment, like Paramahansa Yogananda is an example. You told me about that book, Autobiography of a Yogi. They're like, yeah, like once you get this, you see that everything is saying it in different words. It's just, instead of trying to prove that other people are wrong, why don't you just find the ones that personally resonate with you? Because that's your path.
Right. So right. I've also been listening to a lot of David Hawkins. And since I'm into like my health gadgets and dabble in energy science, with the Joe Dispenza and Sue Morter and all of that I love, 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 love. Hawkins created that chart from Power versus Forces, his book, with the chart with the emotions going up, the constriction at the bottom. You taught me constriction down there and expansion up here. And he tests everything for their resonance on the hertz, on the love, from 500 to 60 or whatever, what shame and guilt are down low, their vibration frequency. And he muscle tests everything, and he's like muscle tested the Course in Miracles. He's muscle testing the books and seeing the vibration that they have. And he says is really interesting because in the Course in Miracles, at the front of the book, the text, and I don't actually remember the number of how high it is, but it's like 600, and love is 500. But the workbook is even higher. The lessons, they're higher than the text. So that was pretty cool that he said that. And then he tests A Course in Miracles students before they really get into A Course in Miracles. And then he tests them after a year of studying, and their energy level is so high, it's like they like never get sick because they're vibrating at this frequency, and they're not in a constricted, resistant style. They're like, stuff just flows through, and their energy is good. So I really loved learning that yesterday too. So I just love learning. And in Chopra's book, Seven Spiritual Laws of Yoga, there's 4 types of yoga. There's Hatha yoga, and that's the movement yoga that we practice in a yoga studio. And then there's karma yoga, and that's just realizing everything is karma. And like the shadow, that's just karma, and then there's bhakti yoga, which is devotional yoga coming from love. But then there's Gyan yoga, which is wisdom and practicing wisdom. And they say that you should always continue practicing spirituality and finding the wisdom, just keep doing it. Don't stop.
Right. Because any time that you think you figured it out, I think it's safe to say like you've missed the boat. Like, and that's really something that I want to be incorporating in what I'm trying to portray to people of, I'm not afraid to be wrong. Like because that's the process, is ever more finding out, like ever more expanding of like, oh, okay, well, maybe from that place that I was at, like I was right, or I was getting something. And then I learned more. And compared to where I am, up here, like, I mean, relatively, like that wasn't right. but you just keep going. And I think that's the other thing that can be such a turnoff about these like very legalistic like ideas of like only the Bible is right. It's like, well, that's literally, I mean, you know, no form has a corner on the formless. Like that's just one, it's not that the Bible isn't right. It's just that like, okay, so every other interpretation that anyone ever has of the one truth is wrong. Like that, you know, that doesn't work for me. I just want to tell a little bit about A Course in Miracles. Uh-oh. Um, I just want to tell people a little bit about A Course in Miracles for those who aren't familiar with it, because I love the story of A Course in Miracles. Um, so, because for me, you know, I think also for those of us that maybe are a little bit more into psychology or logic or sort of or metaphysics, but basically it was channeled through a professor of psychology at Columbia University. So, you know, one of the top psychologists in the world back in the 1970s. What was her name? Was it Helen Schumann? I
Yep.
think. So basically, you know, and I think this is such a great metaphor for life right here, like life without faith or life without magic or life without love, like whatever word you want to use. But basically, here they are at the top department of psychology in the country where, you know, they're supposed to have everything figured out about human behavior, and it's like they're treating each other like shit. It's like rampant with narcissism and cynicism and backstabbing and all of these things. And one day the department head is just like, this is key, right? Because it's like, this is the moment in our lives. He basically says, hey guys, like this isn't working, something's got to give. And like there just has to be another way. And that's the moment, right? And you know, call it surrender, call it a willingness, call it openness to, you know, to something different. And right after that, Helen starts having these really poignant dreams. And you know, so also for those of you out there who are big and powerful dreamers, write those down, record those. So she starts having these dreams and she tells the department head about it, and he's like, whoa, like you need to, well, no, she tells him about the dreams. She's not writing them down. And then he's like, you need to write those down. Like this is some like Jungian archetypal shit. Like this is like powerful mythological stuff. So as soon as she starts writing them down, she hears a voice, what she comes to call the voice, that says, this is A Course in Miracles. So, and it ends up being Jesus that she's channeling. So you have a professor of psychology who is a total atheist, zero interest in spirituality, zero interest in religion. She was culturally raised Jewish, but not practicing. So here you have this, you know, atheist professor of psychology from Columbia University channeling Jesus. And that's where you get A Course in Miracles. So it's basically, you know, a psychological, metaphysical, philosophical like take on the Bible. And it's, the point is though, it says the same thing as the Bible. It's just like, hey, like that energy that is Christ, which I would, you know, we could talk about a lot of different ways, but is like the most enlightened energy that any of us can embody, is like, yeah, I noticed that like the Bible's not really working for everyone. So I really want people to get the point, which is like one of those points is you are Christ. And so I need to figure out another way to tell people.
And I just had sort of a little flashback from you saying that. It's like, I can remember in a really rebellious time in my life. I don't know if I'll go to hell for this. Um, no,
Only in your head.
yeah, I burned a Bible and I burned a Book of Mormon in I've, watched them burn, and it's like, yeah, I'm such a badass. Um, and if I could see myself then and say, someday you're gonna believe you're Jesus Christ.
That
I would say, no way, man. That would be so interesting um to actually say that to myself back then. So
and
never
that
say
was part of your path. That was
yeah,
part of your path. Like
right.
that brought you here today. You are one of the most, and genuinely, I say this all the time, because people are so smart and they have so many ideas and they're so this and they're so that and they're so right. And my question is like, are you happy? Like, are you at peace? And I say this as critical of myself. It's like, if you're not, you must be missing the point on some level. And you are you and your partner, Mitch, are two of the actually happiest, most peaceful, living it people that I know. So whatever has all happened that's brought you here, it's like, you get it.
Learning the Bible was part of it. So yeah, it's I thank you. That's so nice. I do think it's the programming I've done by listening to those poignant books that are so helpful to me in my growth, but listening to them over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
And even in my sleep, I do listen to them. And but I think a lot of it was just becoming comfortable with, for me, it was for money, because it seems like that like makes the world go around. And I always, business driven, since I've had my own businesses ever since I was 15. Um, and so I always think about, I got to be working. And then Dr. Dyer talked about the wheel of abundance and how it goes around, and how, yeah, the money goes out, but then it comes back in, and it's a cyclical thing.
Like the
And
ocean too, right?
yes, yep, like the Tao. And anyway, once I got that, and I started saying thank you, God, for the symbol of abundance ever flowing in my life, as one of the things he says, trains you to do. And once I just really got, oh, it does always work out, and putting that trust there, and trusting the universe. Um, uh, Once I learned that, then I really got that peace in my life. I really did just start feeling content. And that's such a nice thing. I have, my business where a lot of people are travelers, such as yourself, and they travel a lot, and I watch their dogs while they're gone. And to me, it's like, um, home sweet home right here.
Oh,
Here, real quick, honey.
that's true love.
Yeah,
That's
been
true
down,
love.
been down. Oh,
So good. That's yes. Goals.
true
Goals.
love, man. That is gold. That is connection, like right from my heart. Now that he's like walking away and gonna be gone for the day, is like, ooh, little piece. Yeah, but I know he's safe. I just know we're safe, man. And
Oh, what's your affirmation that you always say? Your path is safe. Or
my path is clear, and I am safe.
yes, that's a good one.
I am safe.
My path is clear and I am safe. I really like that.
Yeah.
So I just want to, and we won't talk too much longer. And this is the first of what I hope are multiple conversations that we get to have and I get to share. Obviously, we're always going to have conversations. It's just cool. We can record them and share them.
That's so
So
cool.
I just, I think something that's important to me too is, and you already kind of touched on it with saying that you were at a point in your life where you were like burning the Bible, and but also what I want people to come away with when they watch things like this, and when I say like, wow, you're, the biggest person in my life who really walks the walk, like it wasn't always like this for you. So you actually were an alcoholic for many years and like hit rock bottom. Can you just talk a little bit about that? Like what was missing, what turned you around? I mean, this is like a big conversation that I would like to talk more about. I just want something that shows people like wherever you are right now or wherever you've been, like it's all for something, and just maybe something that whatever you want to say about that right now that's coming to you.
All right. Yeah, I was an alcoholic for 19 years. And I did hit rock bottom and went to rehab. But I was trying before that to figure out the God thing. I was like going to different churches, having a preacher come to my house and kind of going through questions like, where are the dinosaurs? Is that real? I mean, that's not in the Bible. And then he would go and find it in the Bible for me somehow. Don't ask me. I was still drinking. And then like I asked another preacher that I knew, I said, why do we pray if God knows everything about us? Why do we even pray? And he says, it's called faith. It's just showing faith. I'm like, oh, okay. And it just like, but I remembered that pretty good. But after that I had I went to rehab, and at rehab, the night that I checked in, they take your picture and they put it on your folder, and um and then another girl got checked in right at the same time as me, and she was so out of it. There goes Mitch. um and and then I had that girl was my roommate, and then there was another girl who was in the room who was my roommate, and she had been there for 30 days, and she had been going to meetings, and she had been to other rehabs, and she said this place is the Hilton compared to other rehabs. I'm like, okay. And but she glowed. That girl was glowing, and she had got God, is what I would say. And that night when I came out of our bathroom and I had just brushed Jesus's teeth, I was looking at the girl who was so wiped out and did not know where she was. She was just snoring away like crazy. And then there was the girl who was glowing, and she just like was asleep with a smile on her face. And I had a very good example of, do I want this or do I want that? I was like, I want that. I want that glow. I want smiling in my sleep. I want saying that this rehab is the Hilton. It's like, it's like, okay. It was very clear. It was just like in my brain right then. It's like, do what you can to get out of here as fast as you can. So I just did the work really fast and got out in 5 days and jumped into AA, which I never wanted to go to before because it was in a church. Um, but anyway, I found a new family then in AA and stayed with that for 6 years, and then my businesses just got so good, just like they say in the promises of the AA book. And thank God for the 12 steps in my life. For that was like really setting those 12 steps. It helped me take the bigger steps up, and get into spirituality, because step 12, in my latest rehab group that I was in, which was with the Mormons, let's just say never again. How crazy is that? Like, I was on tour talking about this addiction recovery group at the state, all the Mormon churches around the area. I'm like, this is so great.
God had a plan for you. You had a plan for you.
Anyway, there are these meetings, there are these addiction recovery meetings, and the step 12 in that forum is, after having a spiritual awakening, you go on and you share this message with others, and that's doing the work. It's your 12 steps. It's the 12th step is helping others struggle with their addictions, who are struggling with their addictions. And it could be pornography, it could be gambling, it could be smoking, drinking, whatever. But now I so embrace my past. It's totally who made me who I am now, and I have no regrets over it at all. It's like I embraced it. And when you embrace what you labeled as a bad part of your life, it still just keeps you down. But when you love it, and you just like, God, I was a badass. I was, but now I'm a spiritual badass. I like that spiritual junkie shirt you got, or anyway, we should make spiritual badass shirts, but
Yes. Well, and I'll just end with this, I think something really powerful about hitting rock bottom, and we're all addicts of some kind. So having an addiction that basically is gonna like kill you or ruin your life, like you get to that point where there's no convincing yourself that this is gonna work anymore. And I think what is beautiful about that is, and there is just a certain humbling that has to happen for all of us before that exaltation of being able to say, I am Jesus Christ, and really, really get that. And I guess for me, like, it's just so easy to look at people and be like, oh, well, they needed the 12-step program because they were an alcoholic or they were a heroin addict or whatever. And it's kind of like, we all need the 12-step program. Or whatever that is, like at different points in our life. And I do think that, your soul chose this path, and you're very brave, and it was very intense. And going through that, to me, at least in this, story of your life, has a lot to do with your authenticity and the realness of just you and your faith. And it's easy to not hit rock bottom and be able to say like, well, at least I'm not as bad as that person. And like, to me, I'm kind of like, it's clearly a blessing. Like,
yes. Yeah, that was a fun ride.
So, well, I have just loved talking to you as always.
As always.
I think
we could go on all day.
Yeah, a clear theme. Well, I mean, a clear theme that emerges between us is, books and teachers, and we share a lot with each other. And I think it's really neat to be able to do this. And then I can, any author or teacher that we mentioned, I'm going to link to at least something in this video, because I think that's one of the, you never know who it is that's going to speak to you in the way that you need to be spoken to right now. And also, like you said, I don't remember who I was listening to recently. Oh, it was I'm reading under a book called Understanding Aleister Crowley's Thoth Tarot, which is a whole nother can of worms. But he talks about, and this is a good point, like how you were saying, oh, I've listened to Wayne Dyer before, and then I come back now and it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I need now, and I didn't get that before. And it's like, well, his teachings didn't change. Like,
no, they're all recorded.
Your perspective did. And so
the veil was removed so I could actually see and hear now, you know.
And
Yeah.
evermore, you know, like every time
Yeah.
you go back and listen to a recording again or read a book again, it's like, this is just what I need. This is just what I needed now. This
Yeah.
is just what I needed now. And so I just, I encourage, you know, everyone to follow their intuition. And if there's any teacher or book that's calling to you in the about section of this video, jump in.
Yeah. Those are those little secrets whispering in your ear. Read me. I'm for you now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for being my first ever Zoom interview. It's very fitting. We have been on this, I mean, we've been friends for years, and we have in earnest been on this spiritual journey together for over a year, you know, pretty much being in contact like every day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Been together before. I know. First time I saw you, I was like, whoa, look at that girl. I knew there was something. So grateful for you.
I'm so grateful for you. I love you.
Love you too. Namaste. Mwah,
Namaste. Mwah.
mwah, 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 mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.